I'm Ethan, I love muzzleloading. Today we've got some muzzleloading news to recap the trade show season in February 2025. First up, we have our first images of what the Kibler Hawken will look like, as well as a myriad of new details from Kibler's long rifles about some of the features of what their Hawken kit will be and some of the deviations that Jim is taking from original Hawken rifles to make it fit better, as he puts it, with modern sportsmen. I'm not going to go into the details right now because the product is still in development. You can check out the Kibler's Long Rifles YouTube channel to learn more about this. Personally, I think Jim is taking this Kibler Hawken as the opportunity to target a new customer base, knowing that some of the current Kibler's Long Rifles customer base is going to go and enjoy the Kibler Hawken as he's developing it. Some of them aren't, but he's looking at producing this percussion lock to go after an entirely different market that might be not interested in the Kibler's Long Rifles Flintlocks kits. Along with the updated videos, images, and details about the Kibler Hawken, we have more information about the projected timeline, expecting to see this up for order sometime in 2025 here. We'll be following along with development and release of the Kibler Hawken as we have some more details. In other traditional muzzleloading news, we have a new MATCHLOCK muzzleloader being imported to the United States from Brixia Firearms in Italy. Now, this is cataloged under Investarm, a familiar name to those of us in traditional muzzleloading, but it's actually being produced by Brixia Firearms in Italy. So if you're interested in something that's pre-Flintlock era, this might be the kind of model for you to check out. This is an interesting release because many of the MATCHLOCK arms that we see being imported have been denoted as, by many, as lower quality, being imported from India, and many folks are skeptical of the quality of those pieces. A MATCHLOCK being imported by Italy comes with a little bit more prestige, being imported under the name Investarms, and some of the connection there might bring some more people into the pre-Flintlock era. I've not personally had any experience with the India imported arms, but I'm always for more options for the muzzleloading enthusiast. So I'm excited to see what comes of this release, if it's going to be popular enough to keep this kind of production going, and maybe we can get some more interest for pre-Flintlock competition or reenacting in general. Jumping more to the muzzleloading industry, in January, the Shooting Hunting Outdoor Trade Show happened out in Las Vegas, otherwise known as the SHOT Show. This is typically where we will see big releases from the big muzzleloading manufacturers. Though in recent years, the releases have actually come before the SHOT Show, with marketing teams spinning up buzz so that dealers and other interested parties can visit specific booths during SHOT Show. The first release we saw in the muzzleloading world was CVA with a new introduction. It's kind of a minimal update here. CVA announced a new gray stocked blued hardware CVA Wolf V2, as well as some stock design updates for their centerfire scout rifles. And I only bring up the centerfire scout updates because in years past, the scout can lead up to some updates to their muzzleloading line in the Wolf Optima and Acura lines. So while it's purely speculation at this point, seeing updates in the Scout models could mean in the future that we see some updates to the Wolf Optima or Acura stock designs in the future. That could be 1 year, that could be 5 years, and it could be never. Hodgdon has been under fire because of the price and availability of Blackhorn 209, but in a video released from SHOT Show on the SHOT Show floor, representatives from Hodgdon said they had, quote, a good supply of Blackhorn in 2024 and expect a similar supply of Blackhorn in 2025. While the supply might be more plentiful, many muzzleloading enthusiasts and hunters are still, rightly so, frustrated by the increase in price and the decrease of quantity in each can. Prices are more than doubled what they were before the Hodgdon acquisition. It'll be interesting to see if this level of supply is good enough, I use air quotes there, for CVA to bring back the Paramount line. CVA has reportedly ceased Paramount production, they say because of the availability of Blackhorn 209. The Paramount was specifically designed for Blackhorn 209, and with the supply issues of Blackhorn 209 in recent years, CVA has ceased production, I think, Also to relieve some pressure and headache among their customer base, having purchased these top-of-the-line muzzleloading rifles and not having powder to use in them and trying to use some inferior powders out there and making it work. It will be interesting to see if CVA does look at this more updated Blackhorn supply and if that changes anything for them. On a similar note, it'll be interesting to see how Thompson Center approaches the Blackhorn supply levels, if they even address it at all, as they continue production of their Thompson Center Encore line. As we've seen here in recent weeks, Thompson Center Encore barrels have started to hit store shelves and distributor pipelines, so this might be an opportunity for us to see how a different company handles this powder supply, if they address it even at all. Speaking of Thompson Center, Greg Ritz, the now owner of Thompson Center Arms, was working the SHOT Show floor. Thompson Center did not have a booth at the 2025 SHOT Show, but Greg was there representing his television program, Huntmasters. After the 2025 SHOT Show, Ritz did an Instagram update video, as he does kind of monthly right now, to update fans of Thompson Center about production lines at Thompson Center. And in this most recent update, he said that they were producing new production Thompson Center Encore parts, more than the breech plugs that we saw in the fall and winter. We're now seeing specifically Thompson Center Encore muzzleloading barrels come off the production line and begin to hit distributor pipelines. In addition to this, while Greg wasn't there with a Thompson Center booth, he did say in this video that Thompson Center was a discussion topic while he worked the show floor. Comically enough, a photograph of Ritz and another industry professional popped up in the Traditions booth at the SHOT Show. Before Ritz's acquisition of Thompson Center late last year, Traditions was the primary rifle model used by Ritz in his Huntmasters television program. It can be assumed that Thompson Center and Traditions will be competitors later this year as Thompson Center products continue to hit store shelves, if they aren't already. On the subject of Traditions, we saw a pretty big release from Traditions again this year, continuing the line of their Nitro Fire or Federal Fire Stick compatible arm. On January 20th, Traditions announced the Nitro Bolt, a bolt action platform that accepts the Federal Fire Stick and still loads a projectile from the muzzle. The Nitro Bolt features a barrel similar to that of the Nitro Fire in that it is made of chromoly steel with a tapered and fluted profile. It comes with a 1-in-24 vapor twist for optimum stabilization of a broader range of 50 caliber bullet weights. According to Traditions, it has an overall barrel length of 24 inches with a free-floating barrel that comes threaded so you can add a muzzle brake. This continues to be a very popular option for more of the premium price point of modern muzzleloaders. Traditions has been teasing that they'd have a new release since they were on the I Love Muzzleloading podcast last fall, though they didn't share any details then. In early January, we saw a teaser where some of the images coming out of that teaser video looked like it could be a bolt action platform, but it was just too early to tell. This release makes a lot of sense. Ardessa, who is a production partner of Traditions over in Spain, has recently released a new bolt action rifle, and the Nitro Bolt seems to be in a similar style as that rifle from Ardessa. Traditions is putting a lot of production and a lot of money behind the Federal Fire Stick platform, and they're currently the only major muzzleloading manufacturer producing something that's compatible with the Federal Fire Stick. CVA launched the CVA Crossfire last year, but it has since disappeared from distributor pipelines and store shelves, and on many online retailers is noted as discontinued. The CVA Crossfire is also no longer included in the CVA catalog. What the reason for that is, we don't know, and no public statement has been made at the time of recording. That being said, Traditions has the lead with this product demographic, and it seems like they're looking to keep it. Many people expected this would be a flop gimmick product, but we're going on 5 years with this particular platform, and I don't know that Traditions would be investing more product development time and money into the platform if they weren't seeing some kind of return. It's not personally my cup of tea, but I've received a few emails from people that got started with the Nitro Fire and have grown more interested in other kinds of muzzleloading. It's an arm for beginners and people who don't want to deal with some of the extra work that comes with more traditional style muzzleloaders. And like it or not, I think the platform is here to stay, at least for now. Last but not least is Pedersoli from the major muzzleloading manufacturers. We had several rumors circulating through the forums that this would be the year that we'd see the Pedersoli Baker rifle after being announced a couple years ago. Fortunately, my friend Eddie Davenport was on the scene with Pedersoli and has some more details about the Pedersoli Baker rifle for us and when we can expect to see it.
We're going to make a production Baker. It will be available near the end of 2025. I'm not going to say we ran into a problem because it wasn't exactly a problem. It's something you can't fix. We ran into an issue that we wanted to make sure was historically correct. Because the thing about David Pedersoli is that we don't make a gun unless we get our hands on an original, and then we spec it to the original.
Okay.
And so we were making sure that everything was done correctly and, profitably. They're a company at the end of the day. So that's why it wasn't available this year, but it's officially in our catalogs. You can see the rifle.
Okay.
But it should be coming out to people near the end of 2025. I was promised one before 2026. So put it that way.
I'll be honest with you, I'm a little bummed that we didn't have a Pedersoli Baker on display. Really excited and really hopeful that this would be the kind of big traditional muzzleloading release for this year. It's not often that we get a big muzzleloading release or even a loud traditional muzzleloading release, but I think for right now, Kibler's is kind of leading on the news for traditional muzzleloading. I'm hopeful that we see the Pedersoli Baker sometime here in 2025, and I hope that they are available in quantities that people can get their hands on them and test them, and I hope that the MSRP is something that is attainable for a large group of us out there. I'll be doing what I can until then, though, to get as much information about this release for you and the other releases related to muzzleloading here as we head into 2025. That's all I've got for you this week, and as far as muzzleloading news goes, if I haven't reported on it, that means I don't have any updated news or reliable source about updated news. So just because I didn't talk about something doesn't mean that it's not on my radar. We're going to continue watching production of black powder and caps and new muzzleloaders, of course, as we head into the 2025 event season. I'm hopeful that by the time we get to the competition season, as things start to warm up across the country, and we get into kind of the big leagues, I guess, of the national competitions, that we start to hear a little bit more about black powder production and distribution from the major manufacturers, as well as caps and other products that are out there. Once again, I'm Ethan. I love muzzleloading. Thank you so much for watching. We'll have links and more information for you at ilovemuzzleloading.com. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you next time.